Hi, this is Enchanting Nubia Net. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about a young lady, Quinanna Reeves, only 18 years old. And this news story is not only bizarre, it's a wake-up call to everyone. It's not just a story, it's a warning, and it's wrapped up in real-life trauma. And unfortunately, it can happen to any one of us, whether you're a male, female, any one of us. So the setup is this young woman's job hunt, believe it or not. Now, Quinanna Reeves, she is from Flint, Michigan, and she was just trying to secure her first real paycheck. And like many young adults, fresh out of high school, she graduated, as you can see on the picture. She was so eager to start working, to start earning money for herself, to become independent, and also to save up and perhaps even to help her family out. So she applied for a server position at a Cracker Barrel restaurant in Detroit. And this particular Cracker Barrel was a 3-hour drive from her hometown. Now I'm going to pause right here. First off, Cracker Barrel is usually allegedly not truly friendly to people of color, and this young lady is, I believe, an African American. That's number one. And number two, the drive was 3 hours, very long, so that's a huge red flag. So why in the world would a restaurant even interview someone to travel so far? Okay, because usually jobs would like for you to be in a certain distance so the traveling won't be challenging going to work, like arriving late, getting caught in traffic, and so on and so forth. So those are two red flags right there. So let's continue. She gets to Cracker Barrel, and then the interview questions just didn't sit right. So Quinanna, she did arrive on time, she dressed professionally, and she was definitely ready to make a good first impression. However, the interview quickly took a strange turn. First of all, the manager, I believe his name is John Gacy. I believe it's Gacy or Casey. So the manager, or whoever who claimed to be the hiring manager, he started to ask her a question that had nothing to do with hospitality or customer service. Listen to this, everyone. He asked her if she was vaccinated. That's number one, and it wasn't even during 2020. Most restaurants were closed at that time, but those that were open, that would be more appropriate. So why are you asking this question and it's now 2025? The second question was even more alarming. He asked her, "Are you an organ donor?" Now, what does that have to do with this job, being someone who serves other people in customer service? Nothing at all. So, you know what? As a millennial professional, I have been through tons and tons of interviews for decades. And these questions, they just aren't appropriate. They're inappropriate, very invasive. And this context, they're really suspicious. So, what does your organ donor status have to do with serving biscuits and gravy? Nothing. So, Quinanna, she felt very uneasy. She excused herself to use a restroom and she was hoping to regroup. And she did even call her mom. So, first off, she called her mother. According to online reports, she did tell her mom that she didn't think the interview went well because of the questions that she was asked. And again, she didn't even feel really good about these interviews. She had a really eerie kind of feeling, and that's discernment, really. That's, to me, in my opinion, that's when your spirit is really telling you something is not right, and it's a voice of protection. So she did tell her mom. Thankfully, her mother knew where she was, and she went to the bathroom because, again, she drove 3 hours from home. And that's where the nightmare began, everyone. So somehow, I don't know if it's through coercion, confusion, or something more sinister, and I believe it is more sinister, not anything on her part. Quinanna, she ended up on the back of a McDonald's meat delivery truck. And this truck, everyone, was parked behind the restaurant. Even more bizarre, she doesn't even recall how she even got there. That's the scariest part. So, one moment, according to her, she was in the bathroom, and the next, she was surrounded by boxes of frozen patties and beef logs. And the truck pulled off, and she was trapped. And another interview, I actually, sorry, not an interview, a video, I saw where someone mentioned that she was in the bathroom washing her hands, I believe, and then it was just black. She couldn't even recall anything after that. So let's get into more information about this meat truck. So online, I saw that this she was in back of a fridge delivery truck, and she was being taken to a huge meat distributor. Allegedly, it's called Low Pass Foods, and they distribute various meats, including McDonald's. That's what another article mentioned. And okay, let's continue on with with what happened. It was an intervention which caused her to be found. So hours later, while she was in this truck, and she was, of course, duct taped, and also, her hands were binded, and this she was clearly abducted. So hours later, the truck was pulled over by Detroit police for a routine traffic stop because of the truck's busted taillight. And thank goodness, thank God, because of that minor infraction, this led the officers to discover that Quinanna was in the back of the truck. And the police saw that she was disoriented, she was dehydrated, and definitely terrified. Everyone, I can't even imagine. Just a horror. And it's so upsetting to know that someone can go to a place to have a job interview, and this is what happens. Extremely scary. And the thing that's very odd is when the police did discover her, the man who was driving the truck, it's 50-year-old Daniel Martinez, and he stated that he didn't know that she was in the back of the truck, that he was just doing his job driving to another location. Meanwhile, that's the other thing, everyone. This truck was 900 miles away from her home. This truck was actually heading to Oklahoma. So thankfully, because of that tail light, which is a miracle, I mean, God definitely was protecting her through and through. For them to stop this truck, and thankfully, now she was taken to the hospital, and she has been getting better, thankfully. But this was definitely a trafficking attempt. Very scary. So the man, of course, he was detained, and he is, the investigations are ongoing, but he's definitely, um, being held in jail right now. Thank goodness. So let's continue, everyone. Let's keep our heads up. I'm sharing this story because I want everyone to know that you need to be very cautious. be very cautious, and definitely, I have to say, let everyone know if you're going to any job interviews, especially if it's, you know, not in the area that you know. Be sure to share your location. I think it's so important that we all have, dashboard cameras in our cars. If you can even put like a body camera on, that's somewhere that's hidden, maybe in your pocketbook, maybe somewhere that, is very discreet. Definitely share your location, as I mentioned, and have your head on a swivel. If something doesn't feel right, you need to run. You need to make sure that you are really being very cautious about your surrounding. Do not go to any building that looks very desolate. Um, and of course, if the surroundings, make sure that you see cameras around. Do not go to like an industrial area where there's not many people at all as well. So thankfully, as I said, Quianna Reeves is recovering. Thank goodness she's safe, because this could have ended up so differently. Let's be very proactive, everyone, and make sure you protect yourself. Going to a job interview, try to bring, even if it's a can of, even if it's spray paint, even if it's something that can, something that can be like harsh, like made of like Lysol, different type of strong ingredients like that. So if anything, you can also spray on someone to protect yourself. But it's extremely baffling how, a place that is well known, and there's someone there who is having this type of underground type of business going on, where it comes to, trafficking people. It's extremely, extremely scary. So please share this story. You know, Quianna Reeves, she's very young, she's ambitious, and she wasn't aware of this trap, especially someone who is straight out of high school. You know, going for a job interview and then getting caught in this situation is just extremely mind boggling. So I do have to say, everyone, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Share your location. Always let someone know where you're going. Try not to even travel alone to unfamiliar places. And even if it's a job interview, ask questions. And if the job doesn't feel legit, definitely walk away even before the job interview ends. And, learn about the signs of trafficking, such as, an isolated area, as I mentioned, sudden changes in the plans. Maybe the person wants you to meet at another location last minute. Again, if the place is desolate, do not meet when it's evening time or when it's night out. And again, if there's any strange questions. And if you know of someone who may have been trafficked, please call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And that number is 1-888 373 7888, or text HELP to 233733. Thank goodness for Quianna's miracle, because this could have ended up in a tragedy, but it didn't. But we have to make sure that everyone is safe. Thank you for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please stay safe wherever you are. Keep your head on a swivel.